Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings, PlayStation. One Angry Soldier Gaming, bringing you a video based off of the PlayStation Now program that is out there. Now, I have to say, whenever I first tried it out, within the first 5 minutes or so, I was pretty impressed at the fact that aside from having like just a teeny tiny minor lag in the controls, it wasn't enough for me to gripe about. The gameplay has been great. I've been able to play The Walking Dead and Dead Island. I've tried different ones just to test it out, and I'm still in my free trial period, and I've already started to experience a lot that is making me not want to renew my subscription once my trial ends after the 7 days. And I'll tell you one thing, this is frustrating to me because let's see if it does it this time, but I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about here. You say please wait, and it goes to load it authorizes your system and all that, and then it's going to test your internet connectivity. I run at 60 megabits per second, and it's hardwired, LAN connected. I could do my PS4 at Wi-Fi, but I like having a stronger connection, so I'll run it via LAN. And I hardly ever have a problem. Sometimes it doesn't take this long to authorize. But if it happens, when it goes to test it, I'll go ahead and explain it to you in further detail here. As long as it hurries up, because, this is something that I know many people are having a problem with the PlayStation Now. So, basically, I'm not going to wait this whole time for it to happen, so I'll just go ahead and explain it. After it tests during certain times of the day, which I can understand, in Sony's defense, I can kind of understand that, but during certain times of the day, it's almost impossible to play. But the first thing that it does, after it tests your connection, is it basically blames it on your internet and your connection, saying, well, you need to have it hardwired. You have to have faster than 5 megabits per second to operate this thing, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And then I started looking into it deeper, because it also gives you a notification where it says stay in action right there. It basically tells you if you're inactive for a while, it will automatically kick you out. Like, you can't leave the game paused for too long or anything. It will kick you out to, quote unquote, make room for other players on the server. And this tells you that even though people pay a monthly price for this subscription, whether it be 20 bucks a month or 50 bucks for 3 months, it doesn't matter. It's expensive, number one, and number two, they're not always going to get a good connection. And I left a message in the support forums about PlayStation Now, making it very clear that the problem that Sony has, that they have not admitted to, is that 300 data centers throughout the entire US is not enough to support PlayStation Now. They need to have at least double that amount to keep everyone happy and satisfied, because a lot of the problem that people have when they try to connect is that they're not close enough to a specific data center, or the one that is closest to them is still too far away. So the people that have better luck with their connection are people that live closer to data centers. Of course, I have no clue where they're located. Where in my state, I have no idea. But the problem is that I don't live close enough to a data center to get a constant connection. I'm going to back out of this thing because that's driving me crazy. I shouldn't be doing an authorized for that long. But anyway, so it kind of has that problem there. And when you look at other streaming services, even though they're not games, they're more movies and videos, like you have Amazon Instant Video or Netflix or whatever, all of those companies have data centers throughout the US. Now here we go, we're testing the connection. See, this is what I get right here. Unfortunately, your network delay might make PlayStation Now unusable in your area. You can make sure by connecting the LAN cable. Already done it. Your rental period does not begin until you successfully start your game, yada yada. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, and if you go to learn more, they even mentioned other things on there like it's likely that the nearest PlayStation Now data center is located too far away from you, and the service is currently not available in your region. Um, if you're going to offer something like this and promise it to all PlayStation users, you need to have the service available regardless. There are no excuses for things like this. You need to double your data centers and bring them in closer proximity so excuse me so that everybody has a fair chance. Um, because as I mentioned in the support forum for PlayStation Now, is you look at these other instant streamings like Netflix or Amazon Instant Video or whatever. None of them have this problem. They have billions of subscribers on there, or Hulu even, and they're all watching instant videos. And how many of those customers do you ever see complain like, I can't watch it because too many people are using it right now, therefore I am in queue or basically on a waiting list, or have to try again later when not so many people are viewing or watching. You don't see that ever with those kind of streaming services, and this is something that Sony should take advice from. They should look at how Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and all these other instant streaming, they should look at how they do it and how they're becoming so successful with it. Take that under advisement and use it themselves. And I know that the data centers are one of the biggest problems. 300 is not enough to support millions of people. I'm sorry. I don't care how big they are, because data centers are pretty big and they hold a lot, but not for that many people. You got to have more. Um, there was something else I was going to mention that kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, oh yeah, the other thing that I had read, I tried reading in some of the other forums and support, and one of the, I think it was in frequently asked questions or something like that, that Sony had put out, is that if you want to be able to play PlayStation Now, you have to, it's better to wait during times that people don't play, such as late in the evening or early in the morning. So in other words, they're basically saying that you got to wait till dang near midnight or before, like 6 o'clock in the morning. Basically in the middle of the night. If you want to be able to play PlayStation Now and get a successful connection, you'll have much better luck at night because there's a lot less traffic trying to use up the servers. The problem is that in order for people to pay for this stuff, they have to work. And most of those people work during the day. And usually when they work during the day, they have to sleep at night. And there's so many people out there who I've read in the forums where they have taken a rental and the rental expires after a certain number of days. And they've complained because a few rentals went ahead and expired simply because they tried to get on there almost daily and it would not connect. They kept getting the same thing that I'm getting over and over again, and that is a load of crap. And Sony, this is something that you need to fix, because I could tell you that PlayStation Now does have potential for greatness, but so far all I'm seeing is the potential for something to go just down the crapper, because I don't know of a whole lot of gaming systems that have thought about doing something like this. This is rather ingenious. It really is. And the other thing that's really bugging me, and this is on just a side note away from PlayStation Now, back shortly after I first got my PS3, there was a lot of PS1 games that I have always played, but I couldn't get my hands on anymore, such as Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. That was one of my favorite games on the PS1. I went and bought it from the PlayStation Store for like $6, I think it was, and I downloaded it onto my PS3 system, and I made the mistake of listening to someone from Sony a while back before PS4 was even released, that if you own a PS4 you can play all the same games and blah blah blah, and if you wanted to give the game console to someone else for Christmas or whatever, you could do that and still play your PS3 or PS1 games or whatever on the PS4. And I thought, okay, well that's a good thing because mine is digital, and I did hear it supports digital downloads of games. The problem is, once I get on the PS4, that game is not available. I paid good money for that game. I wouldn't call it good money, but I paid money for that game so I'd be able to play it. and it's no longer available to me. I tried seeing if maybe I could play it on my Vita. No. So apparently, in order to play some of these older games that people pay money for, that they're supposed to be able to play for the rest of their life because they own it, because they paid money for it, they can't. And this whole thing about, yeah, PS4 is going to be able to support all digital versions of older console games, I'm not seeing that yet, and that's something I'm hoping that Sony can bring out soon, because I'm very frustrated that I want to be able to play some of these classic games that I've always enjoyed, but I can't until Sony gets their ducks in a row with that on the PS4. So hopefully they get this thing fixed, because PlayStation Now, over my experience, when it does play, I'm impressed with it. Sometimes I completely forget that I don't have a disc in there, because it's that fast and it works that well. And so I'm pretty impressed whenever it does work. But I'll tell you what, I've had it work even less than I have had it be successful in working. So the failure of it definitely outweighs, the good part of it. And to me, that's a load of crap. It's something that should not happen at all. Everybody, I don't care if every single PlayStation person out there, or at least 75% of them all at once, try to go and do PlayStation Now. If Sony can't support that, then they either need to offer this service for free for people, or they need to just flat out shut it down, or get some new servers up there so they can continue to run the service the way they're charging people for right now. And if this thing doesn't get fixed soon, I'm not even going to bother. I don't want to play these games that bad, to go through this kind of hassle to pay $20 a month or up to $50 for 3 months when I can't even play the games. That's just saying to Sony, here, have the money. I don't care if I get the service that I'm paying you for. I'm not going to do that. Alright, so anyway, hopefully they get this thing straightened out, and everybody can be able to enjoy these great classic games, on the PS3 and stuff, and until they start bringing the older versions of other games in there as well. That would be awesome. So until then, I guess we will see you guys next time in my next video. So take care. Happy gaming.